My child, congratulations. It is finally here. What you have been carrying is about to end, and I need you to let that settle into your heart before anything else. You have lived for so long under a weight you learned to call normal. You woke up with it. You went to sleep with it. You told yourself this was just how life is, just how things turned out, just what you had to endure. But I am speaking to you now to tell you that this season is closing. Not slowly, not someday. It is closing, and even though you cannot yet see the full shape of what is coming, your spirit already feels the release beginning. You are seeing this 3 days before it happens, and that timing is not accidental. I do nothing randomly, and I reveal nothing without purpose. I allowed you to hear this before the moment arrived so fear would not steal your peace and doubt would not confuse your joy. I wanted you to know ahead of time that what is coming is real, so when it begins to unfold, you will recognize it not as luck, not as coincidence, but as fulfillment. These days before the breakthrough are not empty, they are sacred. They are a bridge between what was and what will be. This is not coincidence. You were chosen to hear this before the breakthrough arrives. Chosen does not mean better than others. Chosen means ready. Ready because you endured when you wanted to quit. Ready because you kept going even when answers were slow. Ready because your heart did not harden, even when disappointment tried to teach you to stop expecting good things. Many passed through similar trials, but not all allowed those trials to shape them instead of breaking them. You did, and I have seen that. Do not skip this moment, because what is coming will change how you see everything. It will not only change your situation, it will change your understanding. You will look back at the nights you cried and realize they were not wasted. You will look back at the delays and understand they were not denial. You will look back at the confusion and see that it was part of the preparation. This moment right now is part of that understanding. It is the quiet announcement before the visible shift. I have been preparing this quietly, and now the season is turning in your favor. While you were waiting, I was working. While you were questioning, I was aligning. While you were growing tired, I was removing what could not go with you into the next season. Quiet preparation does not look impressive, but it is powerful. It happens beneath the surface. It happens where roots grow deep enough to hold what is about to rise. That is why this took time. I was not only preparing what you asked for, I was preparing you. If you are reading this right now, it means heaven marked you for this moment. Not marked for struggle, but marked for liberation, marked to move forward, marked to receive what once felt out of reach. Heaven does not waste words, and it does not interrupt lives without reason. This message reached you because your heart is in the right place to hear it. Even if you feel unsure, even if you feel cautious, even if part of you is afraid to hope again. I know that fear. I know why it lives there. But fear does not get the final word. Watch closely, my child. Your breakthrough is not delayed anymore. It is approaching, and I want you to understand something important. Breakthrough does not always arrive with noise. Sometimes it comes quietly, like relief you did not expect, like clarity you did not force, like peace that settles in before circumstances fully change. Do not miss it by looking for fireworks. Look for alignment. Look for doors that open without strain. Look for answers that arrive with calm instead of chaos. I know you have been disappointed before. I know you hoped for things that did not come when you expected them to. I know you learned to protect yourself by lowering your expectations. That protection kept you functioning, but it also kept you guarded. I am not asking you to force excitement. I am asking you to allow trust. Trust that I would not speak these words to you if I had not already finished what needed to be done behind the scenes. This is a moment of celebration, even if it feels quiet. Celebration does not always look like shouting. Sometimes it looks like exhaling after holding your breath for too long. Sometimes it looks like tears that come without sadness. Sometimes it looks like stillness where your heart finally rests because it senses that the fight is over. That is what I am offering you now. Rest before release, assurance before arrival. You have been walking toward this without realizing it. Every lesson, every question, every wrong move you chose, even the things that felt like setbacks, served a purpose. They kept you from paths that would have delayed this moment even more. I know it did not feel kind at the time. I know you questioned me. I know you wondered if I heard you. But here you are now, standing at the edge of what you once prayed for. I want you to guard your heart in these days, not by closing it, but by keeping it steady. Do not let doubt speak louder than truth. Do not let old voices rewrite what I am doing now. There will always be reasons to hesitate, reasons to question, reasons to stay cautious. But there is also this truth: I am faithful. I finish what I begin, and I do not bring you this far to leave you here. This is why I told you ahead of time, so when it begins, you will not be shaken. So when it unfolds, you will not panic. So when it arrives, you will not wonder if it is real. You will remember this moment. You will remember that I told you before it happened, and that remembrance will strengthen your faith for everything that comes after. My child, let joy rise gently. Let hope breathe again. Let expectation return without pressure. You do not have to strive for this. You do not have to chase it. It is coming toward you. Your role right now is to stay open, stay grateful, and stay present. Do not rush ahead in your mind. Do not replay the past. Stay here in this moment where peace is beginning to grow. Congratulations, not because everything is perfect yet, but because the hardest part is ending. Congratulations because the season of endless waiting is closing. Congratulations because you are about to step into a chapter you once thought might never come. And when it does, you will understand why this message found you exactly when it did. Watch closely, my child, not with fear, but with faith, not with tension, but with trust. What you have been praying for is no longer far away. It is approaching, and I am with you in every step that leads you into it. My child, congratulations. It is over. I want you to hear those words slowly, not as a phrase meant to excite you, not as something exaggerated to lift your mood, but as truth spoken with authority and peace. What you have been carrying for so long has reached its end. The season that felt endless, the weight that became familiar, the weight that taught you to survive instead of expect. This chapter is closing. You did not imagine how long it felt. You did not exaggerate the pain. You did not misunderstand the struggle. It was real, and now it is finished. I speak to you with relief in my voice because I know how hard it has been for you. I know how many times you told yourself to be strong when you were tired. I know how often you wondered if this would ever change. You woke up day after day not knowing how much longer you could keep going. Yet you did. You kept moving, not because it was easy, but because you had no other choice. You learned how to endure without answers, how to hope quietly, how to keep faith small enough that disappointment would not crush you again. I saw all of that, and I am telling you now with certainty that the endurance is no longer required in the same way. The season has completed its work. This is not hype. I do not speak empty words to stir emotions. I do not announce endings unless they are real. This is real. You are standing at the close of a chapter that consumed years of your life. It was not a wasted chapter, but it was a heavy one, and now it is done. The weight you carried shaped you. It taught you things you could not have learned another way, but it was never meant to be permanent. It was meant to prepare you, not define you. You survived it. You endured it, but you were never meant to become it. Now the release is here. I know that sounds too simple after everything you have been through. I know your mind wants to protect you by questioning whether this is real. That caution is understandable, but do not let it rob you of this moment. You have earned the right to exhale. Endings are sacred. They are not always celebrated the way beginnings are, but they carry just as much power. The ending of what no longer serves you clears space for what is meant to find you. Without endings, there is no room for new growth. Without closure, there is no capacity for fresh starts. This ending is not a loss. It is a release. What you are letting go of was never meant to stay with you forever. It had a purpose, and now that purpose is complete. You are not losing something, you are being freed from something. I want you to feel the difference. Loss feels like something was taken. Release feels like something was lifted. This is the latter. You are not being stripped. You are being unburdened. You may wonder why it took so long. You may look back and ask why this season stretched as far as it did. My child, the timing was never arbitrary. The length of the season matched the depth of the work that needed to happen within you. If it had ended sooner, you would not have been ready for what comes next. There were layers to remove, patterns to break, fears to face. There were beliefs you needed to unlearn and truths you needed to internalize. That process does not happen overnight. It happens through repetition, through testing, through moments when you had to choose trust over fear, again and again. You were not being punished by the length of the wait. You were being prepared. Every delay served a purpose. Every setback refined something. Every moment of stillness allowed something to settle that needed to be rooted before you moved forward. Now you are ready, not perfect, not without fear, not without questions, but ready. Ready means you can hold what is coming without it overwhelming you. Ready means you can receive blessing without it destabilizing you. Ready means your foundation is strong enough to support the weight of answered prayers. I know you still feel traces of doubt. That is normal. Doubt does not disqualify you. It simply means you have been disappointed before and your heart is trying to protect itself. But I am not asking you to abandon caution entirely. I am asking you to allow hope to coexist with it. You do not have to choose between being wise and being hopeful. You can be both. Wisdom acknowledges that you have been hurt. Hope acknowledges that healing is possible. Both can be true at the same time. What I am offering you now is not fragile. It is not dependent on your ability to believe perfectly or your capacity to stay positive. It is grounded in something deeper than emotion. It is grounded in timing, in readiness, in alignment. This moment was always coming. You could not have rushed it. You could not have forced it. It was being prepared while you waited, and now it is here. I want you to receive this without guilt. You do not need to feel bad for the moments you doubted. You do not need to apologize for the times you questioned. You do not need to regret the days when you felt too tired to keep believing. All of that was part of the journey, and none of it disqualifies you from receiving what is now being offered. You are worthy of this ending. You are worthy of release. You are worthy of rest. Not because you did everything perfectly, but because you stayed, because you endured, because you kept going, even when it felt pointless. Endings often come quietly. They do not always announce themselves with grand gestures or dramatic shifts. Sometimes they arrive as a gentle knowing, a sense of completion, a feeling that something has finally run its course. That is what you are experiencing now. This is the quiet close of a chapter that demanded too much of you for too long. I am not asking you to celebrate loudly. I am not asking you to shout or proclaim victory. I am simply asking you to acknowledge that the hardest part is over. That acknowledgement is enough. It is sacred. It is the beginning of your freedom. You do not need to explain this to anyone. You do not need to convince anyone that this is real. This is between you and me. This is your moment, your release, your ending. Let it be what it is without needing external validation. Some people will not understand what this means to you. They will not grasp the weight of what you carried or the significance of what you are being freed from. That is okay. This was never about them. This was always about you finding your way back to peace. You carried something that was not yours to carry. You held weight that was meant to be temporary. You endured a season that stretched longer than it should have, but now the burden is being lifted, and you are being restored to yourself. This is your moment, not because of what you accomplished, not because you finally figured everything out, but because the season reached its natural end. Seasons change, not because we force them to, but because their time comes. Your time has come. Receive this with gratitude. Receive this with peace. Receive this knowing that you are not alone in it. I am with you in the closing of this chapter, just as I was with you through every moment that led to it. This is over. Let that truth settle. Let it bring you comfort. Let it remind you that nothing lasts forever. Not even the hardest seasons you made it through. And now you are stepping into something new. You are about to enter a season that feels entirely different from what you have known. It will not be perfect, but it will be lighter. It will not be without challenges, but it will be without the specific weight you have been carrying. That difference will be noticeable. At first, the absence of weight may feel strange. You have grown so accustomed to carrying it that freedom might feel unfamiliar. You might even find yourself looking for the burden, wondering where it went, questioning whether it is truly gone. That is normal. Give yourself time to adjust. Freedom does not always feel exhilarating at first. Sometimes it feels disorienting. You were shaped by what you carried, and now that it is gone, you are learning how to move without it. That adjustment takes time, and that is okay. Do not rush this transition. Do not force yourself to feel a certain way. Let the shift happen naturally. Let your heart catch up to what your mind is beginning to understand. Let your spirit settle into the reality that the fight is over. You do not need to know what comes next in order to step forward. You do not need a map for the new season. You simply need to trust that the closing of one chapter makes room for the opening of another. That trust is enough. I know you want certainty. I know you want to see the full picture before you take the next step, but certainty is not always given at the beginning. Sometimes it unfolds as you move. Sometimes clarity comes after action, not before it. What I am offering you now is not a detailed plan. It is an invitation to step into what is next without needing to control every detail. An invitation to trust that I am guiding you even when the path is not fully visible. You have been asking for direction, and I have been giving it to you in ways you might not have recognized. Direction does not always come as a clear command. Sometimes it comes as a gentle nudge, a subtle shift, a quiet knowing that it is time to move. That knowing is what you are feeling now. You sense that something has changed. You feel the shift even if you cannot fully explain it. That feeling is not imaginary. It is real, and it is my way of leading you forward. Trust that feeling. Trust the sense of completion. Trust the quiet certainty that this chapter has ended and another is beginning. That trust will carry you further than certainty ever could. You are not being asked to leap blindly. You are being asked to take one step at a time, trusting that the next step will become clear as you move. That is how growth happens. That is how new seasons unfold. I am not rushing you forward. I am anchoring you where you are. When the breakthrough comes, you will not be startled. You will not panic. You will not question whether it is real. You will recognize it and welcome it. That recognition begins now, not later. This is how I care for you. I speak before storms and before sunshine. I prepare hearts before change. I calm minds before movement. I wanted you to know because you are not meant to walk into what is coming with fear still clinging to you. Let this knowledge bring you peace, not urgency. Let it bring confidence, not pressure. You do not need to do anything special to make this happen. You need only to trust me and remain steady. You are seeing this before it happens because you are loved, because your heart matters, because I want your joy to be full, not fragile, because I want faith to be the lens through which you experience what comes next. Stay calm, my child, stay open, stay grounded. What is coming will arrive at the right time, and when it does, you will be ready to receive it with peace instead of fear. My child, this is not a coincidence. I want you to let that truth settle deeply because doubt has tried many times to tell you otherwise. You have questioned timing. You have questioned why things happened the way they did. You have questioned why paths opened and closed, why plans shifted, why delays interrupted what you thought was certain. You wondered if life was random, if you were simply reacting to circumstances, if you were just trying to survive a series of unrelated events. But I am speaking to you now to remove that doubt. Nothing about your journey has been accidental. And this moment is not random. Divine timing does not look like human planning. You were taught to expect straight lines, clear progress, predictable outcomes. But I work through orchestration, not convenience. I move pieces you cannot see, align moments you did not plan, and guide you through paths that only make sense when you look back. You thought some steps were wasted. They were not. You thought some delays were failures. They were not. You thought some redirections were setbacks. They were protection. Every step you took led you here, even the ones you resisted, even the ones you did not understand, even the ones that felt wrong at the time. I was guiding you through what you could handle, not what you wanted. Desire does not always know what is best. Trust learns over time, and your trust was being shaped through each turn. You may remember moments when you were certain about a direction, only to have it suddenly blocked. You felt frustrated. You felt confused. You asked why doors closed after you had already stepped toward them. But those closures were not rejection. They were refinement. They kept you from carrying unnecessary weight into this moment. They kept you from forming attachments that would have slowed you down later. You did not lose time. You gained clarity. There were also delays that felt unbearable. Times when nothing seemed to move. Times when waiting felt like standing still while life passed you by. You wondered if you were being left behind. You questioned whether you missed your chance. My child, delay is not absence of action. It is often the most active form of guidance. While you waited, things were being aligned beyond your reach. Hearts were changing, circumstances were shifting, timing was being adjusted, so that when things did move, they would move in your favor. You were redirected more times than you realize. Subtle nudges, unexpected changes, conversations that altered your course, opportunities that disappeared only to make room for something better. You might have thought you were improvising. You were being led. You might have thought you were adapting. You were being positioned. This message reached you now because every one of those steps brought you to a place where you could hear it. If this had come earlier, you might have ignored it. If it had come later, you might have doubted it. But now your heart is ready. Your awareness is sharp. Your spirit is attentive. That is not coincidence. That is timing. I know you sometimes look back and wonder why certain prayers were not answered the way you hoped. You wonder why clarity did not come when you asked for it. But clarity does not always arrive when requested. It arrives when it can be received without harm. You needed to live some things before you could understand them. You needed to experience loss before you could appreciate release. You needed to feel limitation before you could recognize freedom. Nothing about your story is wasted. Even the detours that felt pointless carried purpose. They taught you patience. They taught you discernment. They taught you to listen more closely. Without those lessons, this moment would feel overwhelming instead of reassuring. You are able to receive this now because you have been shaped by what came before. You may feel like you stumbled into this message by accident. You did not. You were guided here. You were led through curiosity, restlessness, searching, or even boredom. However you arrived at it, you arrived on time. Divine timing often hides behind ordinary choices. You clicked, you paused, you stayed, and now you are here. That is orchestration, not chance. I want to remove the idea that you are late or behind. You are exactly where you need to be. Time with me is not measured by speed. It is measured by readiness. You are not catching up. You are arriving. Everything you lived prepared you for this understanding. Even the parts you wish you could erase contributed to who you are now. You might ask why others seem to receive things sooner, why their paths look smoother, why their breakthroughs appear quicker. My child, comparison hides orchestration. Each path is unique. Each heart is unique. What you needed to learn could not have been learned another way. What you carry now could not have been formed without the journey you walked. You were not delayed, you were developed. This moment required all of that. It required your endurance. It required your humility. It required your willingness to keep going, even when you did not see the point. Those qualities are not accidental. They were cultivated. And now they allow you to recognize truth when it comes close. I know doubt whispers that this is just another message, just another hopeful moment that will fade. But doubt speaks from fear, not from truth. The reason this feels different is because it is different. The reason it resonates is because it aligns with everything you have lived. Truth often feels familiar because it connects the dots your heart has been holding quietly. Nothing had to be forced for this to reach you. That alone should tell you something. What is meant for you does not require chasing. It arrives. It finds you. It meets you where you are. This message found you because it belongs to this moment in your life. I want you to trust that I know what I am doing with your story. I have seen the whole picture from the beginning. You have only seen pieces at a time. It is understandable that you questioned, doubted, or grew weary, but now I am inviting you to see that the pieces fit, that the pattern is forming, that the waiting was not empty. The journey you walked was necessary. Every single part of it contributed to who you have become. The moments that felt random were actually building blocks. The experiences that seemed disconnected were actually threads weaving together a larger design. You could not see it while you were in it, but now you are beginning to glimpse the larger picture. Think about the person you were when this season began. Think about what you believed then, what you feared then, what you hoped for then. Now look at who you are today. The transformation is undeniable. You are not the same person. The journey changed you, and that change was necessary for where you are going. You learned things about yourself that you could not have learned in comfort. You discovered strength you did not know you possessed. You developed resilience that can only come through testing. You gained wisdom that only experience can teach. All of this was preparation. The season was not easy, but it was purposeful. The waiting was not pleasant, but it was productive. The struggle was not welcome, but it was transformative. You emerged from this season carrying things you did not have before. Deeper trust, greater patience, sharper discernment, and a faith that has been tested and proven. These are not small things. These are the qualities that will sustain you in the season ahead. Without them, the blessing you are about to receive would have overwhelmed you. Without them, the breakthrough would have been too much to handle. But now you are ready, truly ready, to receive what is coming. I want you to understand that readiness is not about being perfect. Readiness is about being prepared. You have been prepared through every experience, every challenge, every moment of doubt, every season of waiting. The preparation is complete, and now the moment has arrived. You do not need to fear what is coming. You do not need to worry that you are not qualified or capable. The very fact that you made it through what you just endured proves that you have what it takes. The endurance you demonstrated, the faith you maintained, the hope you kept alive even in the darkest moments. All of this qualifies you. I see your heart. I see your sincerity. I see your desire to do what is right. I see your willingness to keep trying even when you are tired. I see all of it, and I am telling you that you are ready, not because you are flawless, but because you are faithful. Not because you have all the answers, but because you trust the one who does. This moment is yours. This breakthrough belongs to you. This new chapter has your name written on it. You do not need to earn it through more striving. You do not need to prove yourself through more suffering. You have already done what was required. The season of testing is over, and the season of harvest is beginning. Harvest does not happen all at once. It unfolds gradually, one blessing at a time, one answered prayer at a time, one door opening at a time. Do not expect everything to change overnight. Expect instead a steady flow of good things, a consistent stream of provision, a reliable pattern of breakthrough. This is sustainable blessing, not temporary relief. This is lasting change, not fleeting improvement. This is a new normal being established, not just a momentary reprieve from difficulty. What is coming will stay. It will root itself in your life and create a foundation for everything that follows. You will look back on this moment and recognize it as a turning point. You will see clearly how everything shifted from this point forward. The before and after will be distinct. The old season and the new season will be undeniable. This is that moment, right here, right now. I am speaking this over you with authority and with love. I am declaring it over your life with certainty. I am announcing it with confidence because I have already seen it in the realm where things are prepared before they manifest. It is done in the heavenly places, and now it is breaking through into the natural realm. Your job is simply to receive it. Open your hands, open your heart, open your mind. Let go of the resistance that keeps you braced for disappointment. Let go of the fear that keeps you expecting the worst. Let go of the doubt that keeps you questioning whether good things can really happen for you. They can, and they are. This is your time. This is your season. This is your moment. Everything is aligning in your favor. Everything is working together for your good. Everything is coming together in ways you have not yet fully seen but will soon experience. Stay steady, my child. Stay anchored in faith. Stay grounded in trust. The breakthrough is here. The blessing is arriving. The new chapter is opening. You are walking into everything you hoped for, everything you prayed for, everything you believed for. And it is going to be more than you imagined, better than you expected, greater than you dared to dream. Receive it with gratitude. Receive it with joy. Receive it with peace. This is your reward for enduring, your prize for persevering, your harvest for remaining faithful. You earned this not through perfection, but through persistence. You qualified for this not through flawlessness, but through faithfulness. Congratulations, my child. The hardest part is truly over. The weight is lifting. The burden is being removed. The season is changing, and you are stepping into a chapter of your life that will redefine everything you thought was possible. Welcome to your breakthrough. Welcome to your blessing. Welcome to your new beginning.